Hi, welcome to the Just Ask Drew video series. Just Ask Drew is where Drew answers all your questions about high-end headphone audio. In this video, Drew is going to talk about Moon audio headphone cables.
Hi, I'm Drew Baird from Moon Audio, and today we're going to talk about headphone cables. We're going to talk about the differences between each one of our headphone cables. We're going to talk about connection options, hardwired versus user detachable, and we're going to talk about some of the customizations we can do to your headphones to make them better with our cables. Headphone manufacturers put all their research and development into the driver design, and rightly so. It's the most important piece to the puzzle. The problem with the stock headphone cables is that it becomes sort of an afterthought for them. They put all their money into the driver, and usually the stock headphone cable is outsourced by another company that really doesn't listen to the headphone. They use poor materials, small conductors, bad geometries, and essentially the headphone cable can become an antenna for your headphones. It'll pick up noise, anything that's in the air. So it's almost as important as the driver design. An easy analogy that I give people to try and explain why an upgrade cable will make your headphones sound better, it's sort of like a car engine. When your air filter gets dirty, your performance for gas mileage, acceleration, etc. deteriorates. Well, when you go change out that air filter, that engine breathes better. And similarly with headphones, by changing out that cable to a better geometry, larger conductors, good shielding to ward off outside noise, you've essentially created a clean air filter for your headphones. Here's an example of a stock headphone cable. As you can see here, and I won't mention the manufacturer this comes from, but here are the small 3 wires. As you can see, that's basically all that goes down that pipe. There's no shielding. These are very, very small conductors. The geometry isn't consistent. It's a rubber jacket, etc. This can really deteriorate the sound of your headphones that you've spent a lot of money on. So we basically have created our own headphone cables because we are first and foremost a cable manufacturer. Although we sell all of these items, our beginnings started in in all things audio cables. And we produced our first headphone cable, I'm going to guess 8 or 10 years ago. I was called up by a gentleman named Jude. I'm sure all of you know him from Headphone. He started Headphone, and I didn't know him at the time, but he asked me, "Hey Drew, could you create a headphone cable for my Sennheiser HD650, which I have here?" This has long been one of the most popular headphones, reference headphones, great price, great performance. It actually started with the 580 and then the 600 and then evolved to the 650. And so he had a pair of, I think at the time, 600s and asked me if I could make a headphone cable for his 600s because it had detachable connectors. At the time, the only other game in town was Cardis Audio, and they were making headphone cables, and I was selling all of their other products. And so I collaborated with them to see if they would let me use their molds that they developed for the Sennheiser to put on our cables. And right here, I've actually got 2 of our first original cables. We actually started out with the Blue Dragon first. This is the Blue Dragon version 1, which was a little stiff and unwieldy, but it was our introduction into the headphone market, and this is what I sent to Jude. And then this is our Silver Dragon, which instead of copper conductors that's used in the Blue Dragon, we're using pure silver conductors here. Things have evolved a lot over the years. We're now up to a Silver Dragon version 3 and a Blue Dragon version 3. Not shown on the table right now is also our Black Dragon version 2. And there are lots of differences between each one of the cables and what they can do for your headphones. And basically, depending on what kind of headphone you have, your source equipment, and the type of music that you listen to, I can help you pick and choose which cable might fit your need better. The Silver Dragon is made of pure silver conductors. Now on the V3, we've stepped up the purity to a 7N conductor, which is basically the purest silver conductor available on the planet today. It is unbound by crystalline boundaries. There are no fractures in it. It is extremely difficult to produce, but we've gone to great expense to produce it and to bring it to you to improve your headphones. Then there's the Blue and the Black Dragon, which are both a single crystal copper cable. And the Blue Dragon is essentially the same geometry, same conductor size as the Silver Dragon, but in a copper design. In the Black Dragon design, we've taken the Blue Dragon and stepped up the conductor size from 24 to 21.5. What this did over the Blue Dragon was added a little fuller sound, a little more bottom bass to the sound synergy. The Blue Dragon is a more neutral, natural sounding headphone cable, and the Silver Dragon is our very top of the line, clean, clear, and dynamic cable. Now we're going to talk about connection options. There are different kinds of connection options for your headphones. In some cases, there are no connection options, where Moon Audio can customize your headphones so that you do have connection options. Some of the connection options are user replaceable, where you can purchase a cable through Moon Audio's website. You can detach your existing cable and replace it with ours. Whereas there are other cables that cannot be detachable. They are hardwired to the headphones, and these will need to be sent into Moon Audio to have changed out. For example, the Baird Dynamic T70 has a hardwired cable. It's a single entry on the left side, which isn't user replaceable. So this is an example of a headphone that has to be sent into Moon Audio to be modified. The HD650 has a user replaceable cable, so there's no need for these headphones to be sent into Moon Audio. You can simply order a headphone cable on our website, detach the cable, and away you go. So for those situations where it isn't as easy as that, going back to the Baird Dynamic, these headphones can be sent into us, and we can do a couple of different options. The first option is we can replace the existing cable with a single entry as shown here, but I'd like to do what I call a split modification, where we basically remove the existing cable, we drill a hole in the other cup, install 2 new grommets, and hardwire our cable to the drivers. What this does is it shortens the path for the right cup, because typically in a single entry headphone like this, the cable goes up and over the band into the other driver. This can deteriorate the sound quality of this headphone, and by wiring straight to the driver, we're maximizing performance. If you have a situation where you need to use your headphones both at home and on the go, then we can do what's called a detachable connection. So for the detachable connection, these are the Baird Dynamic T1s. In this situation, in normal form, this is a hardwired headphone, and it's got a split entry as opposed to the single entry on the T70. So besides just hardwiring a cable to this, we can also create a detachable system for you. In this particular case, we've used the mini 4-pin XLR that is common to the Odyssey LCD2 and 3. This way, if you own multiple headphones, like the Odyssey and the T1, then you can swap the cable back and forth. So this makes things very flexible. Now, not every headphone can be customized to have a detachable system, because obviously it depends on the ergonomics of the cup design and whether we can fit a connector in there. But in most cases, we can usually figure out something for you. If in those cases that you can't do a detachable mod, then what we can do is what's called an adapter system. So for the adapter system, here's a set of Fostex TH600. And in this case, unfortunately, the ergonomics of this cup do not allow us to do a detachable system for you. So we've come up with what's called an adapter system. What we do is first replace the stock cable with one of our cables. In this case, on the TH600, we recommend the Black Dragon headphone cable. So we'll make a short 4-foot cable for this headphone, and on the end of it, we'll put a mini 4-pin XLR. This connection is small, it's balanced, and allows you to basically do either balanced or single-ended connections. Why is this important? Well, there are so many different portable headphone amps out there, as well as home amps, and they've got lots of different connection issues, which we'll talk about in our next video series. And in this case, we can basically create one short cable for your portable setup and one long cable for your home setup. And you can simply detach the existing cables that we've made for you for each scenario. So now we're going to go on to some of the headphones that have an existing detachable connection system. This is one of my favorite headphones, which we'll talk about in another segment with all the top-end headphones that I really enjoy. This one utilizes that same 4-pin mini XLR that we showed you on that Baird Dynamic T1. And we've created a new cable for this headphone called the Silver Dragon V3 Premium. This cable is specifically designed just for the Odyssey LCD2 and LCD3. FureTech has come out with some really nice new plugs. They're a pure copper design with a silver and rhodium plating on top of it. And so this is an accentuation of our regular Silver Dragon V3, primarily just for this headphone. We're also going to talk about the new premium cable for the HD800 Sennheiser headphone. This is the new Black Dragon V2 premium headphone cable. It, like the Silver Dragon V3 premium cable, is using the same upgraded Furotech connectors. Furotech has come out with a very nice new HD800 connector. It's a pure copper pin with a silver and rhodium finish on it. We can do this in both 1/4 inch, dual 3-pin XLR in both a standard finish or a carbon fiber finish on the XLRs. Why did we pick these two cables for these headphones? We found in these cases that these headphone cables truly sound best with their equal partner headphone. The Black Dragon with the HD800 brings out the bottom end, which these headphones tend to be a little bass light, so it adds a little fuller sound to the overall spectrum and improves the bottom end weight. It also tends to smooth out the top end on this headphone. It's been known that this headphone can be a little analytical, especially if you're using it with a solid state amplifier. I tend to enjoy using this with a tube amp to add some of that full body warmth to the headphone so it's not so analytical. But the Black Dragon V2 is definitely my pick for the headphone cable for this set of headphones. For the LCD3 and the LCD2 for that matter, the Silver Dragon has really been the best match. I think for every set of headphones that we sell, I'd say about 85% of the customers buy the Silver Dragon over the blue and black because it adds top-end air and clarity. These headphones, because of their magneplanar design, tend to be a little rolled off, if you will, or smooth on the top end. And so the Silver Dragon complements its nature and adds a little top-end sparkle, if you will. Not any brightness. This is not a bright headphone to begin with, and our Silver Dragon really isn't a bright cable and will not create an analytical sound with this headphone. It takes its amazing bass, which this has one of the best basses of all headphones out there, and it tightens it up and controls it a lot better. Going back to user replaceable cables, there are some headphone manufacturers that are coming out with connection systems that are a little harder to work with. Some of the connection systems don't have an off-the-shelf connector that we can use. For example, the new Shure headphones like the 1840 use a small MMCX connector. Well, this is not an easy connector to work with. So we couldn't easily just pull a connector off the shelf and make a cable for you. So in the last year and a half, we've worked really hard and at great expense to create molding systems to do connectors for headphones that have this sort of option. And so we've just launched a few of those cables, and you'll see many more from us in the future. Like I've talked about here with the Shure, here is the Shure CC-MX connector system. So as you can see, this is a plastic injection mold that we've created specifically just for this headphone. And it'll work on all future and existing 1840 headphones. Here's the Sennheiser HD700. This too is not an off-the-shelf connector. While you would think any mini plug would fit in here, because of the ergonomics of the hole, we've had to come up with a plastic injection molded cable for it too. And here you'll see this. This connection system is available on all three of our headphone cables. At first we've only got 10-foot links, but in the coming months we'll be producing longer and shorter links for all of these headphones. Going back to the adapter system, I thought I'd bring back the LCD3s to show you all the different connections we can do. Before I showed you a hardwired headphone, the Fostex TH900, but in this case, it's a detachable existing system that you may still want to do an adapter system. So what we've created here, and this is with the Black Dragon V2 headphone cable, particularly I'd choose this cable with this headphone if you listen to a lot of electronic dance, pop music and such as that you want to keep that still full body sound. So first we created a 5-foot cable with the LCD3 connectors, and at the other end a 4-pin mini XLR. And so I've got a whole host of different cables that I've produced for connecting to different amplifiers. The first one being a 5-foot balance-to-balance connection. So we go from that mini 4-pin XLR to a dual 3-pin XLR for your home balanced amp. We've also done, for that second amp that you may have, that's single-ended. So instead of the 3-pin XLR, we can use a 1/4 inch jack for that amplifier as well. A new popular way to connect your headphone is to conventional amplifiers. And so we've also created an adapter system that goes from that mini 4-pin XLR to bananas or spades, whatever your connection system may be, on the back of your amplifier. The LCD3 tends to be easy to drive, but Some people have used this with low wattage SET amplifiers. We do this particularly mostly for the Hi-Fi Man HE6, which is a very demanding headphone. And in that application, this is a very useful adapter for that headphone. We can also do all kinds of portable connection systems. Here's the RSA plug or ALO plug that was first used by Ray Samuels Audio on his SR71B, a fantastic headphone amp. Kudos out to Ray for that. The ALO uses this now. It's become a standard. Centrance, Cypher Labs has just come out with a headphone amp DAC that utilizes it. So it's become a new standard, if you will, for balanced connection in the portable arena. And then we can also make a simple mini adapter cable for you, so you can just jack into your iPod if you don't want to lug all this gear with you on your trip. I'd like to go into a little bit of detail about the sonic signature of our 3 full-size headphone cables. The first one being the Blue Dragon V3. This headphone cable is the Blue Dragon V3. It was developed to be the most natural and neutral sounding of the 3 headphone cables. If you're doing any mastering work where you don't want any coloration, or you've got a set of headphones that are very neutral and you don't want to add any more bass or improve any top end, but you want to get the best out of the detail and clarity of your headphone and produce some natural aspect to it, then this is the headphone cable I would choose. Building on the Blue Dragon, when you go to the Black Dragon V2, it has a lot of that natural characteristics to the sound. But with this headphone cable with the larger conductors, what it does is produce a much fuller sound. It adds some bottom end weight to the sound. So if you've got a pair of thin sounding headphones or very analytical sounding headphones, this would be a good choice for you. It's not an overly warm sounding headphone, but it does have a warm characteristic like the Blue Dragon, but very natural sounding. If you need to go to a very detailed and resolute cable, then I would step up to the Silver Dragon V3. This cable has the most definition, air, and detail. It'll add sparkle and clarity and really improve the dynamics of your headphone. If you've got a very dark sounding headphone, a good example would be the HD650, which has long been known as a very lush sounding, full-bodied sound. If you want to sort of improve the detail and characteristics and add air and definition to the top end and control the bass a little tighter, then the Silver Dragon is the obvious choice. The Silver Dragon would not be a good choice for a headphone that would be very bright and analytical. A good example would be the HD800. Because this headphone has a pretty pronounced top end and can be a little analytical at times, the Silver Dragon wouldn't be my first choice, unless maybe you're using a very warm tube amp like a 300B caliber. But hopefully this has explained a little bit of the different characteristics of each cable. Obviously, there's a lot of other synergy involved. Each headphone has its own characteristic, and so trying to pick the right headphone for each one of them can take a little bit of experimenting. But feel free to ask me any questions, as I've experimented with a lot of different headphones with each one of the cables. And some headphones you can actually mix and match multiple cables with if you want to do a different type of synergy. So besides full-size headphone cables, we also do in-ear monitor cables. Before you'll see various different types of IEMs that are available on the market today. Some of these connection options were very easy to source, whereas other ones we had to create from scratch. The first and most common, which we commonly refer to as the 92-pin option, is used in these JH Audio Pro 16s. These are the new Freak Phase, which are absolutely stunning headphones, by the way. And this is a very universal connection system that's used in many of the custom IEMs out there. Ultimate Ears uses them, Westone uses them, and that's just the short list. And so we've got 2 different cable options with a 92-pin. We've got the Silver Dragon V1 IEM headphone cable, and then we've also got the Black Dragon V1 IEM headphone cable. The similarities to the full-size cables are that the Silver Dragon, while a different geometry, still utilizes the single crystal ultra pure 7N silver conductors, and the Black Dragon uses the single crystal copper 7N purity conductors, and each one has their own signature. The Silver Dragon tends to be very detailed orientated, and the Black Dragon is a warmer, more natural, full and lush sounding cable. So depending on the different IEMs that you may have, may warrant a different flavor. Besides the connection systems that I've just shown you earlier on the HD700 and the Shure 1840, there are some other connection systems that are hard to find. They aren't off the shelf and easily done, so we like those headphones, created some plastic injection moldings to utilize some of these other connection systems out here. This one is the Fit Ear. Fit Ear is out of Japan, and they use a connector very similar to the Sennheiser, although very small in comparison. We call this the 7-pin, and we've created this one for all of their IEMs. So they'll universally work with each of their products that they've produced. Another connection system we've created while doing these other ones is the Triple Phi connection system. While this IEM's been discontinued, its popularity is very large, and there's a large body of these out in the world today. So after lots of requests us to make a cable for this, we have. Which is a good thing too, because since it's been discontinued, you can no longer get cables for it. So we've got this both in black and Silver Dragon available for you. Not shown on the table right now is going to be our new Shure connection system, which should be available in another 2 to 3 weeks. Probably at the time you're watching this video, we'll have it up on the website already. This will be utilized in the 535 and the new SE846, and it'll be available in both the Black Dragon and Silver Dragon as well. With our new plastic injection tooling, as new headphones come to market that require these new connection systems, we'll be able to provide the perfect fit for your cable needs. Thanks for watching our video. I hope we've answered some of your question about our headphone cable products. If you have any further questions, please visit us at moon-audio.com/JustAskDrew. This is our blog site where we can answer all of your questions you might have.